What's up? My name is Sebu. I am hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
You just released your latest single, Have You Ever Hurt Somebody? And, this is another listen from your upcoming debut album. So, talk to me about the creative process of this song in particular and the collaboration as well.
I wrote this song many, many years ago, but it never really sounded complete until my good friend Sirusho, a singer from Armenia, suggested that it should be a duet and that she should sing on it. And I said, of course, let's do it. The idea came on a whim when I was out there a couple years ago playing some acoustic shows. I just kind of on a whim invited her to sing it with me on stage, and it sounded so good that we decided to record her parts when she visited LA just last year. And before she flew back to Armenia, she said, let's just record a music video. And I already had an idea brewing in my head. I'm like, okay, I put it together last minute in like about a week. She left, and then it took me another 9 months to finish the production and do the editing of the song. But luckily it came together and finally it came out, and it's been doing well, mostly probably because of her fans, because she has a lot of fans and they're loyal, rabid followers.
Now, how different is that creative process for you now that you're on your own? Like Ryan's not here with you bouncing back ideas. Do you feel like the creative process kind of changes, the way that you write kind of changes?
Yes, it's very different. It's on the one hand liberating to be able to just kind of do whatever you want to do and not, debate too long about ideas. But it's also difficult because it's important to have that back and forth with another talented, creative person so that you could help each other decide what are the good ideas and what are the bad ideas. It's always good to have a second perspective. So doing things as a solo artist makes you a little bit more vulnerable because you're not as sure about your ideas because you don't have that constant feedback and back and forth. But it's a truer representation of who you are as an artist, so I'm excited to share that.
Now, one thing that I noticed with Capital is that you guys did the producing yourselves. There was no outside producer that would come in for the records. And I know you produced on your own also, but why did you guys feel it was so important? And are you still doing that with your solo stuff? Are you still sticking to yourself?
Yeah, the first album was completely self-produced. The second album was mostly self-produced. We did work with some other producers. With my solo album, about half the tracks are going to be totally self-produced, and the other half are collaborations with other producers. So I'm mixing it up. I'm kind of trying everything, different genres, different styles. The common thread is my voice and I guess my lyrical style.
Your delivery?
Yeah.
Now, as far as working with other producers, do you feel like any one of them has had you do something completely left field that you've never thought you'd do for this record?
Most of them began with a beat that they would present to me. I was just looking for something that was inspiring and moving and not necessarily something that I wanted to do style-wise. In fact, I purposely picked tracks that were out of my comfort zone or a different style that I would typically go for, just so I can make this album a little bit more eclectic.
What's one thing that you felt challenged on this record?
Some of the tracks are pretty experimental and the beats are sloppy sometimes, you know what I mean, in a good, intentionally. So, and I'm not used to that. Typically when I've produced in the past, I've been very, meticulous about tight beats and clean, structure. With some of the beats on this album, I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could come up with a catchy, simple melody over a unexpected chord sequence or kind of a sloppier beat or whatever. So that was challenging, but it's a fun challenge.
So in a sense, by doing that, do you feel like you're kind of learning new ways to sing or new ways to kind of deliver your lyrics?
One of the producers, a guy named Beirut, really cool trip hop producer, we're going to be working on a song called Ultraviolet Violent. Those are going to be coming out alongside the album over the course of the next 2 to 3 months, and hopefully you guys will get to hear it and enjoy it.
Now, you mentioned earlier the single that's out right now you wrote it 10 years ago. What was it about this song that you believed in it so much that 10 years later you decided to make it as part of your solo debut?
I don't know. That's one of a handful of songs that I haven't been able to implement into my bands that I was in at the time because it just didn't fit the sound or the songs weren't complete yet.
Yeah. And how do you organize those songs that you wrote years ago that didn't work out for those projects, but eventually would? Like, how do you keep them organized that you know, like, okay, I have this song from like 17 years ago that I wrote in my bedroom? Like,
I'm not very organized. I have a feeling that there's another 20 to 30 songs sitting in hard drives on previous computers that I've forgotten about.
now you mentioned like this because you're doing it yourself. You're more vulnerable as far as like creating your songs, your tracks. But as far as opening up to the world, you know, getting more personal to them. How do you learn to be vulnerable and be okay at the same time?
Writing and singing is cathartic. It's therapeutic. Whatever comes out that pleases me, I hope that it pleases other people too.
Yeah. Now, can we expect a collaboration on this album with Rafi and the I Love You song?
Oh, did you hear that one? Yeah, wow, what a
I was
sad...
blown away. Like, it's those simple lyrics, and I was just like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's been such a sad few days.
Yeah.
I never realized I was such a Kobe fan. And his passing like affected me and so many people, not just in LA, but all over the world.
Right.
The song that basically my kid Rafi wrote the day Kobe passed away, he was just messing around on the piano and he's been totally blowing my mind. You know, silly two notes or whatever, back and forth, but like there was something there, and I was like in the other room thinking about Kobe just being really depressed, and he's singing a song in the other room and just repeating the words "I love you, I love you, I love you" over and over again. And I secretly recorded him doing that, and then I took the audio and I added a beat to it.
Yeah.
I hope it spreads a kind of a positive message, you know, that we need to love each other and we need to tell each other we love each other all the time, a little bit more frequently, because you never know. Life is precious. Life is short.
Right. Now, last year you were able to do this collaboration with Serj.
We are collaborating on a song together that we've written already. It's just we got to get the production right.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year, maybe summertime, that'll come together and it'll come out. I'm very excited about that. He's a really good friend of mine. He has a kid the same age as mine, and they play every once in a while.
They're gonna form a band soon, so
Hopefully, you know, rock it out.
But when you collaborate with someone like that, he's all over the place as well with his music. You know, how does that impact the way that you create yours as well? Like, do you guys bounce ideas back and forth and kind of you teach him, he teaches you, sort of thing?
So he sent me these 2 demos, and they were really, really cool, and I just kind of put my touch on it.
That's awesome. Now, back to the album. Is the title set in stone, Many Faces, or is still a working project?
Tentative.
Okay.
Many Faces reflects the eclectic nature of the album and the many different faces that I have, personalities, emotions.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations with that. I can't wait to hear the rest of the track. Now, to close us off, like, what is it about music? Like, you've been in this industry for so long, whether it's bands or doing the solo project or even collaborating with other artists. Like, what is it about music that keeps you, like, really involved that, you know, no matter what hardships you go through, this is what you want to do?
Yeah. Well, music is very much to me a 2-part art, right? It's sonic, ear candy, melodies, harmonies, beats, rhythm, and then lyrics, poetry. So those are both equally important to me. And both of those things, combine them together, it's just pure magic, you know? We all know how it feels to, you know, maybe lock yourself up in a room and put on headphones and get lost. Right. And it's my favorite form of art, and it's the easiest way for me to express myself. So that's what music is to me.